The ripple effect of the downward trend of the cedi, and indeed, well, the separation that was done in taxes, well, is beginning to kick in on increment in prices. Let's go for our very first issue. And prices of major alcoholic beverages and spirits are expected to be increased from next week. The adjustments have been influenced by the recent changes in VAT rates calculation, which have affected claims on input costs by businesses, increase in production costs, and the cedi depreciation. Some breweries have already communicated the price changes to their distributors through emails and notices at the factory sites.
Because the businessman is there to make profits, and therefore there are certain accommodation that you can tolerate. If you want to cede off part of your profits, it's okay, but you cannot let all your profit go.
So I get from you that it's more of the rising cost of operations, the business environment, and that's something that you can no longer absorb.
You can't, because if you don't do that, what is going to happen? It means that all your profit is going to go, and eventually you have to fold up and leave. And if you look at it the way it's going, you shouldn't be surprised come next year if you see more businesses laying off staff. You should not be surprised at all.
Has it gotten to that extent where you believe that the layoffs would be a best way out for these beverages or these firms to still stay in business?
You need to make an adjustment. Those with large numbers in recruitment will have to cut down some of the staff to be able to be in business. Because if you need to maintain that number of staff that you have, if you talk to some of the pharmaceutical industries, they will tell you what they are also planning to do. And this is not an alien science. It's something that we are seeing coming.
Well, so they were quite inconvenient to carry around, but certainly dependable companions in the boarding schools. If you didn't have a new one, perhaps you may have inherited one from a relative. The iconic red and black traditional trunk boxes were certainly a treasure. But has modernity affected the price and the demand for the good old trunk? Sandra Sinamapeno takes a trip down memory lane to Jamestown, to a trunk manufacturing hub, and brings you the rest of the story.
This is Jamestown, the hub of the good old metallic box trunk. Following the collapse of two trunk manufacturing companies, Nyame Metals and Links, in the late 70s, affected workers migrated here at Jamestown to start their own business. And since 1976, these men have held on to the business, ensuring the trunk culture lingers. Charles Omanekwe is one of those men, and he tells me experience has made the job easier.
We, the workers, we work at how do you call it, Nyame Metals and Links. We are those who have come down to, we started working, doing this trunks here.
Depending on the demand, Charles is able to manufacture a trunk within 3 hours. High demand for trunks, especially during the academic season, has pushed lots of youngsters into the manufacturing business. One would have thought, with the evolution of time, demand for trunks would dwindle. The story is rather the opposite. More and more parents would choose trunk on any day to modern-day briefcases. The reason is simple: holding on to tradition and durability.
Since I know that the trunk is better than the chobos, because the trunk, there's a locker, 2 lockers, and there may be incense and those things cannot get to it, so that to spoil its food or those things, the items in the trunk.
A trunk now ranges between 70 and 100 cedis, depending on the quality of the metal sheets. Despite the high demand, manufacturers say they are bedeviled with several challenges. The metal sheets used in the manufacturing of the trunks are not made locally. They are imported. The fast depreciating cedi is also having a huge toll on the business.
The metal sheet is now expensive. The dollar has affected the price because the sheets are imported.
For over 40 years, these men have not only kept the trunk tradition alive, but have also provided job opportunities for many young people. But despite their contribution, they say the sector has been neglected. Some of the manufacturers believe it's about time Ghana starts exporting the trunks to at least neighboring countries. Perhaps this could be one of the areas governments may want to invest in under the One District, One Factory program. After all, every high school student is a patron of the good old metallic box, trunk.
Well, on to the next issue, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is expected to launch the Cybersecurity Guideline for central banks as part of the Cybersecurity Month celebration. The guideline seeks to promote the voluntary information sharing on customer database and ensure that incidents of cyber attacks within the financial sector is reduced.
In 2017, the total number of cyber fraud cases reported by the Bank of Ghana increased by about 42% as compared to the same period in 2016. Also in 2017, 1,418 financial fraud cases were reported to the Bank of Ghana, representing 42% compared to 1,001 cases, which represented 41.66% in 2016. According to the National Cybersecurity Center, Ghana's cyberspace has recorded significant developments within the last couple of months, especially with the introduction of digital postal addressing system, mobile money interoperability systems, as well as the ongoing national identification system, amongst others, which calls for increased awareness. The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, is expected to launch a set of guidelines to protect the financial sector against cyber crimes. National Cybersecurity Advisor Albert Entry-Boisiako has been explaining to Joy Business expectations from these guidelines.
We need to look at the different models for achieving enforcement. Within the cybersecurity ecosystem, yes, punitive directives should be the last resort. We should be looking more for voluntary and promotive kind of directive. That is an angle I see the BOG directive. One, it seeks to help the banks to build their cyber defenses. Two, it seeks to help with information sharing on cyber threat within the financial sector.
Well, so that's it for the Business on Joy News today. My name is Odile Ntiamwa. Let's make a date on the marketplace at 1 p.m.